Introducing the cheapest Traxxas Stampede project. So quite a few of you have been asking for this project. I've been kind of putting it off because I haven't been sure if I wanted a Stampede, but it seems like this is what the people want. They want me to do a cheapest Traxxas Stampede project, very similar to the cheapest Traxxas Slash project I did, which if you haven't checked in on that whole playlist, I'll put a card in the corner. But basically we started off with the cheapest Traxxas ready to run Slash you could buy, and then built it into one of my favorite RCs, honestly. It's probably my top 5 favorite RCs, and it was an RC I wasn't even gonna buy. I literally bought it for content purposes because I thought it would be a perfect RC to test out, kind of show new beginning hobbyist what to expect with a 2-wheel drive brush machine, and then kind of build it into a brushless monster. So now it's built into, basically we built it up into better than a VXL brushless model. It's the ultimate 2-wheel drive machine at this point. I highly recommend you check out that series, especially if you're interested in purchasing a Traxxas Slash 2-wheel drive. But there's been quite a few people asking for a Traxxas Stampede 2-wheel drive build series. So that's why I went ahead and I bought this right here. This is the cheapest Traxxas Stampede you can buy. It's actually probably one of the cheapest ready to run 110 scale models you can buy from Traxxas. I actually got this on Amazon for $159.95 or $159.99. Literally 160 bucks. Kitty. Okay, well, cat can stay in the video. I literally bought this for $160. I found it on Amazon. I will leave those links down below if you want to check it out. I'm not sure if those ones are still available. I think there's only like 3 or 4 left when I bought this, and I've had this sitting around for a couple weeks. So if it's not available through the Amazon links, there are a few other places that have it for like 170, 180 bucks, and there are different color options. There's only 2 color options available where I bought it on Amazon, but I wanted to stay true to what this whole series is about, which is the cheapest Traxxas Stampede project. So I had to buy the absolute cheapest one I could find, brand new in the box. I'm excited to start this build series, but first what we're going to do is we're going to move the camera a little bit closer. We're going to get this thing out of the box and show you what we're working with. So here it is, guys, the Traxxas Stampede 2-wheel drive. This is the very first Traxxas Stampede I have ever owned. Like I said, it is the cheapest ready-to-run model you can buy. Now, I will need to point out that even though I say ready-to-run, it doesn't actually include the battery and charger. For this particular model, I think you have to pay roughly $200 to get a nickel hydride pack with it, and then it just comes with a little Trickle charger. So, highly recommend if you are going to be buying something to actually just buy an Easy Peak charger or something from Traxxas. It's a lot better. But the link that I used on Amazon only had 2 different colors available. It only had blue or red. So take your guesses down below. What do you think I went with, the blue or the red? Well, we're about to find out. And actually, I was going to cut this open, but looks like somebody already cut it. So even though this is supposed to be new in box, it's already kind of opened. But here it is. Right here, first thing that comes out is your controller. It's just your typical TQ top qualifier transmitter with your steering alignment right here, set button there, throttle, steering, pretty typical. And no batteries included for the remote either. All right, it's upside down, gotta flip it over. And here is the truck right here. Boom! I went with the blue. Like I said, my options were kind of limited. There was only blue and red. Let me show you the box because there are other colors available, just not quite as cheap for whatever reason. So here's the blue one I got. Like I said, I only had the option of the blue or the red. I was very tempted to buy an orange one, but the cheapest orange one I could find online was from Amain Hobbies, and I think that was 200 bucks. So for whatever reason, these were the 2 cheapest colors right here and here. They also have a green one. And I know they even have some, I saw some even more expensive ones that have like a light bar on the front bumper. They have like a front bumper with a light bar, which these ones do not. So those ones cost you a little bit more yet. But like I said, I want to stay true to the cheapest Traxxas Stampede project, so it has to stay the cheapest. And I guess we never looked at the outside of the box. With the top speed gearing, I'm sure installed, you can expect 30 miles per hour plus. It has got the XL5 waterproof system in it, XL5 ESC, 12-turn Titan motor, and like I said, TQ transmitter. I don't think there's really a whole lot else to this truck that it shows on the box. So box, we're just going to set aside. Also, this fell out right here. This is your owner's manual with miscellaneous stuff. Also has a small tool set for you. And here is the truck right here. In typical Traxxas fashion, they always have this little bit of plastic around the body. And then they got the body clipped in place, just held on with these little clips. Looks like there's only two holding it. All right, and there is the body, looking pretty fresh indeed. That's a good looking body. Like I said, I was kind of, it's a toss up whether I wanted the red or the blue. My favorite of all of those choices was the orange, but I could not find the orange available. Now I probably will need to Gorilla Tape this or something before we start running it so it will last longer, because otherwise this body probably will not last super long at all. Here is the truck. And this is the exact same power system that comes stock in, I believe, all of their brush models, the 110 scales. Same thing that came in my two-wheel drive Slash, the Cheapest Traxxas Slash project, the XL5 ESC, and that 12-turn Titan motor. Now, you do also have to put the antenna on separately, so that just comes kind of sitting in here. You got to put that on, and that'll just screw in place. Where does that screw in place at? Where's the hole in the body? That's what will tell us. Okay, the hole in the body is right here. So it goes right here. Here it is. So right there, that's the hole where the antenna mounts. So as you can see, I have got the antenna tube in. It literally just slides in place right down in here. And there is no grub screw to hold it. But if you push it down far enough, it should stay in place. And then since this has got the longer antenna tube because it's just running the TQ receiver, you have to stick the antenna through the body, which is why there is a hole right there in the body, which is kind of hard to find the hole. That's what she said. That's cringy. Gosh, see, it's kind of it's difficult. All right, you got to line it up. There we go. And it sticks through the top. There we go. Now, if you were to buy a brushless version of the two-wheel drive, that has the TQI transmitter and receiver. Now, that receiver has better range while using a shorter antenna, so you don't have to have the long antenna sticking out of the top. Now, I have tried this in the past. Some of you might be thinking, why not just cut the antenna down and stuff more of that antenna into the receiver box? Well, I tried that before, and unfortunately, it greatly affects the range. Your range gets cut down significantly if you try cutting this down and just making this antenna tube shorter. This TQ receiver needs to have this amount of length for you to have decent range. TQI, you don't need that. So that is the reason for the long antenna and the hole in the top of the body. And that is a big difference between the VXL models and the XL brush models, is that you get the TQI transmitter and receiver. The other benefit of the TQI transmitter and receiver is you have TSM, which I set the radio over there, the transmitter, but that has a separate knob that has a gyro feature that is called Traxxas Stability Management, and that basically keeps your wheels pointed straight and helps correct. Whenever you're trying to put the power down, it's constantly counter steering using a gyro feature that's built into the receiver to keep you going straight. So it's basically kind of like a stability control, which is kind of cool. So that's another benefit you get with the brushless models. Now, if I do start giving this thing a lot of power by swapping in a brushless power system, we could have issues trying to keep this thing going straight. You might want to slide out like crazy, and the gyro just makes it a lot easier to keep the thing tracking straight and control the thing, and you can adjust it with a dial on the transmitter where you can adjust it to all the way up. Basically, it'll be going back and forth. You'll see the tires going back and forth super fast, twitchy, trying to keep the thing going straight. Like, you don't even have to touch the steering wheel to keep it going straight, or you can turn it down to about half, which is default, or all the way down to off, where basically you're testing your own skills as a driver. But yeah, I don't really know that much about this truck. Some of you guys who watch my channel might be familiar with Mark Santamaria's channel. He actually did an unboxing and a test of the Traxxas Stampede two-wheel drive, and he pointed out a few things in that video that I agree with 100%. One of the things he pointed out is that he didn't like the way that the thing looked toy-like. and I have to agree with him. See, I can't find the hole. What the heck? There. That gets annoying fast. The thing he didn't like is that it looks toy-like. Part of it is because the body kind of looks like it was put on here as an afterthought in my mind. You can see right through the fender. Like, I can see you guys right through the fender well. That just looks, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look proportionate. It looks very toy-like. Looks like the body should be mounted way lower, like an inch or two lower for it to actually sit properly. Another thing that he pointed out that I was not aware of with the Traxxas Stampede two-wheel drive is actually that most of the screws on this machine are Phillips head. So that is interesting because even the cheapest Traxxas Slash project, which I think at the time of filming that video came in at $189.95. Currently, I think it's gone up because that was like 2 or 3 years ago now I filmed that video, at least 2 years ago. And I think that went up to about 200 bucks now, but even that machine had hex screws. Now hex screws are these screws right here. So some of the screws on this are still hex screws, the ones on the receiver box. That's typical hobby grade screws right there. That's kind of what you get in most hobby grade vehicles, but most of the stuff like holding these shocks on and the bulkhead together, as you can see, are Phillips head. And so that really tells you they have this centered more towards entry-level hobbyist because most people have a Phillips head screwdriver sitting around at home. I guess that's their thought process, but that's one thing that me and Mark both can agree on, that I don't really like that. I'm probably not going to spend the money to swap them all out. It's just kind of annoying. I'd much prefer that they were hex screws. Another thing I noticed, which I don't know if it's said on the box, it appears this does not have actual bearings. Looking in here, you might be able to tell that appears to be brass bushings. So they still spin smooth, but also it's a brand new truck. That might be a part of the reason why this cost 160 bucks, and it's even cheaper than the Traxxas Slash two-wheel drive, because Traxxas Slash two-wheel drive still had bearings all the way around. It had the hex screws. This does not have hex screws. It appears that all the wheel bearings, or as a substitute for wheel bearings, it appears it has brass bushings. Just has plastic drive shafts. It does have a 272 Magnum transmission, which comes stock, I think, across the board in their 110 brush models. Now that is metal geared, and the output, the bearings within this transmission should still be bearings. I don't think these would be bushings. I'm going to take a wild guess that they're probably bearings within the transmission, but the wheels do not have bearings. So yeah, you can see what Traxxas did to make this a little bit cheaper of a machine. And yeah, just not a whole lot to the truck. Pretty plush suspension. I look forward to testing out. It is just rear wheel drive. Like I said, you don't get four-wheel drive for the cheapest machine. I will have to get a nickel hydride pack, which I believe I have 1 or 2 sitting around that hopefully will fit in there, because I think you can fit a full-size one in there, because the battery tray goes right up underneath the receiver box and the ESC. So as long as I can fit a typical size nickel hydride pack in there, we should be good. You can see the wheels, the tires, not the most aggressive tread pattern. They are 2.8s with a 12 millimeter hex and 7 millimeter wheel nuts. But yeah, I look forward to starting out this project. Probably gonna start off slow. First thing you're gonna see is a running video testing up bone stock. Then the next thing I'll probably do is I'll probably go ahead and install the high-speed gearing, which should be in that packet, and we'll test the top speed. So we'll test the top speed stock, we'll test the top speed with the high-speed gearing, then from there we're just gonna start making more and more changes. Probably mess with, you know, drive shafts, wheels, tires, some RPM upgrades, stuff to make it tougher, more durable. And then maybe start messing with the power system, give it some more power, maybe go brushless. We're just gonna have to see. So if you guys do like this project, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure to stay tuned for the next videos. See ya. One more thing I forgot to mention is what this XL5 system can take power-wise. You can use either a 6 or a 7 cell nickel hydride pack, I believe, or you can use a 2S LiPo. You can't go more than 2S LiPo in this truck stock. And I know stock, you should probably expect somewhere around 20 to 22 miles per hour bone stock with that gearing. And once you gear it up, we're probably talking somewhere around 30. But don't worry, because we're going to do some tests to confirm those speeds and see how accurate Traxxas estimates are. But yeah, everything's waterproof, so expect some bashing through water, mud. Got to reinforce the body. Got to cover up those breather holes so we don't get water in these tires. And I look forward to starting out this project, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy it too.